I like to keep kids motivated. And it's so much negative out here that I want to make sure that we start them in a positive vein. And I know for me to be successful in education, it's always starting them positive instead of negative. So having a positive mental attitude is something that I push toward young people. Do you try to do the same thing in the clinical psychology field?
Yeah, I definitely do, Mr. Whitfield. I think that the kids and their parents need to have a positive mental attitude in order to be successful. I think, unfortunately, whether it's through media, whether it's through, unfortunately, their personal family history, or for other reasons, they have a negative attitude. I'm not going to be successful. My parents were poor, I'm going to be poor. My grandparents struggled, I'm going to struggle. They need to think that things are going to be different for them. In order to be successful, I tell the kids and their parents that they have to have a dream, positive dream. You know, don't shoot low. Don't set your target low and hit it.
Set your target high.
Set your target high. You may not reach the stars, but you may reach the clouds. But you got to be high, you know, and then you can move forward from there. You got to go forward with a positive attitude, telling yourself that you're going to be successful. If you don't tell yourself you're going to be successful, who's going to tell you? You got to do it yourself.
Well, you know, one of the things my mother used to say is, there are no obstacles, there are only opportunities. So I always looked at things as the cup is 3/4 full instead of 3/4 empty.
There you go.
So when you look at it in that type of vein, then you're reaching for the sky. You may get the stars, but at least you're reaching for the sky. The other thing she used to tell me was, you only live once, and this is not a practice run.
That's right.
So that means that do your best the first time, you know. So, but positive mental attitude, you know, that's something that we have to instill in our kids, we have to instill in the parents, we have to instill in the system, whether it's the school system or whatever system it's in. Because when we treat people in a positive way, I find you get a lot more out of them, a lot of good things.
Yeah, it's so important. Just a really quick story. Just talking about how counselors, teachers influence you. When I was in middle school, I went to Sam Brandon Middle School, and I had a counselor. He told me, Randall, you don't have what it takes to go to college. I'm 43 years old. This was like 30-some years ago. I still remember that conversation. But on the other hand, I had another counselor from the high school I was going to, came to the middle school. He told me, don't listen to them. You can do whatever you want. You can be successful. I remember that conversation, and that conversation is what motivated me. So parents, yes, have ultimate, I think, impact, but teachers, principals, counselors, the system, as you said, has a role to play. It has to encourage these kids. If you tell a kid that they're going to make it in school, guess what? They're going to make it in school, and they're going to seek out assistance, seek out help. But if you just say, oh, you don't have what it takes, I say, yeah, I don't have what it takes. I'll just, you know, collect cans in the park, do whatever. Got to tell kids you're going to be successful, and then you got to help them. That's a role, I think, of teachers and parents, is to help your kids be successful. Don't just tell, oh, go out there and make a success of your life. Kids are going to be lost. You got to guide them. That's one thing I work with parents and say, you know, you've chosen to be a parent. People say, oh, well, it was a mistake. No, there is no such thing as a mistake in having a child. Child is not a mistake. You have a child, then your job now is to be a parent. Not just to be a sperm donor, not just be an egg carrier. You are to be a parent. That means you have to be active. That means your job is, guess what, 24/7. 365 days a year.
In other words, making a baby doesn't make you a father. Taking care of the baby makes you a father.
Amen.
Having a baby doesn't make you a mother. Taking care of the baby makes you a mother.
That's right.
You know, because I talk to a lot of students, and one of the things I have to tell the young ladies is you're all going to grow up to be women, but you have to be taught to be a lady. Because we lose the context of what ladies and gentlemen are. We lose the contact of what a parent is. because nobody taught us. When we grew up, we had the whole community teaching us how to become an adult. And now in this generation, I think the community is not involved. We lived in communities where Miss Jones could tell you what to do, Miss Johnson, Mr. Bill down the street, but everybody was responsible for the kids in the neighborhood when they talked about it takes a village to raise a child. Do you see that as being anything that, or a way we could regenerate that to get it back in the way it used to be?
Yeah, and I think we can. I think we have to, because, like I said, the kids right now, unfortunately, they're lost. I understand that parents are in a position where they may be working 2 jobs. They don't have as much time. So guess what? Like you said, the neighbor has to step in. You know, Mr. Johnson has to step in. Mrs. Smith has to step in. And you raise that kid. You say, well, these kids are just causing all kinds of problems and da-da-da in the neighborhood. Well, what are you doing to give them some direction? Give them another way to go. Parents, adults have to step in. Yes, we have to parent. Yeah, our biological kids, we have to parent all the kids. Because you are so right. I remember, if I got in trouble down the street in front of Mrs. Smith's house, Mrs. Smith got me in trouble. I got in trouble with her, and Mrs. Smith then told my mama, and I got in trouble with mama. Then my mama told my daddy.
So you had 3, yes.
Yeah. So everybody worked together. You know, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but that's the environment we need to recreate, and we can do that. People have to step up. If you want your environment to be different, guess what? You have to make it different. You have to do something. You can't wait for anybody else. You have to do it.
Yeah, I think we're responsible for ourselves, but you have to understand you're responsible for yourself.
That's right.
Because it appears to me that common sense is uncommon in 2011.
That's right.
So we have to go back to some of those common sense things that we used to think about. I think self-gratification, immediate gratification, is one of our problems too. Everybody wants stuff right now. When we grew up, we had a thing, you remember a thing called layaway? When you wanted to buy something, you wouldn't put it on layaway, and when you got it, you were so happy to get it, but it took a while. Now everybody wants it right now. Nobody will put anything on layaway. For instance, they go buy it and put it on a credit card, and then you have to pay interest on the credit card. We didn't pay interest on layaway, I don't think. So I think we need to lay away our dreams, but work on them to develop them instead of wanting them right now, because that doesn't work for me. I don't know about you.
No, it doesn't work for me either, and it's okay. It really is okay if you don't have it right now, but you're going to have it in the future. But you got to do certain work. It's one of the things, and I tell people, my clients all the time, you have this goal, you want to be here, but you're right here. It's going to take some time. It's going to take effort to get over here. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, what they say, well, if you win the lottery, you can be a millionaire tomorrow. So play the lottery. What are your chances? You know, 50 billion to win the lottery? You're not going to win the lottery. So hey, why don't you take a little bit of money? Why don't you invest it? I think you and I were talking about a Christmas account that you were saying. Take that $25 a month. Guess what? You build $25 every month. It adds up over time. You invest it properly, adds up over time. You might be a millionaire in 40 years, but hey, I'd rather be a millionaire in 40 years than be poverty stricken.
That's right.
You don't need to be a millionaire today. You don't need to reach all your goals today. It's okay to do it in time, but you got to work hard today. Otherwise, you will achieve nothing. You will have nothing. And I've seen a lot of people, and this is very unfortunate, people who retire and have nothing. People who retire and then have to go back to work because they can't support themselves. You got to think about your future. Unfortunately, these people didn't think about the future. They thought about, hey, this month I'm going to go to the club, I'm going to spend money, I'm going to have fun, but then they had nothing set away. You got to think about today and live in the moment, but you got to realize you're probably going to live a long time. You got to prepare for that. You got to work hard every day for whatever your goals are. I talked about money, millionaire, that's great, but whatever your goals are, academic goals, career goals, set that goal and then work towards it. And you get guidance from parents, you get guidance from teachers, and counselors and principals will help you. We will help you. Me and you and the community will help these kids, because we have to help these kids. We're just going to say, hey, just go out there by yourself and do it. We got, like I said before, we got to step up and help them, and they can achieve their goals. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be in a week, but at some point, they'll reach that goal.
Well, I have two more little topics for you I want you to think about. One is intergenerational relationships. Because it doesn't appear to me that young people and seniors have relationships anymore. We have relationships with our grandparents, we listen to them. And now I don't see as many intergenerational relationships, which means that the older people are not learning from the kids and the kids are not learning from the older people. It would appear to me, if I'm a grandparent, that maybe I could learn how to text and do computer stuff through my kids. That's what they do. And maybe they could learn some common sense and wisdom from me. So what can we do to tie the generations back together?
I think one of the things that we can do it, I think, in twofold. The older generation, the grandparents that you spoke of, have to let the kids know, the grandkids know, that they love it. Let them know that they're there for them, and let them know that they're going to help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve. The kids, on the other hand, have to do like you said. Maybe teach your grandparents how to use the computer. Teach them how to text. Tell them, let them know that you want to communicate. Because I agree that when we were younger, our grandparents passed on their wisdom. We had that old tradition. You know, they tell us stories. They pass on knowledge and wisdom and experience. That's not happening like it should be happening. And so the kids now are kind of being left out. They're not getting information, not getting that support. They're not having that foundation that we had to be successful. They need that. And so, yeah, if your grandparents can get on the computer and email their grandkids once a day, just say hi. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them that I'm there for you. That's going to mean a lot to the kids. Whether it's kids that are been through the system and juvenile hall, and correctional system, and Catholic Youth Authority, and all that. What I'm finding is those kids want love, they want respect, real respect, but they want it from their parents, they want it from the grandparents. We think, oh, we buy kids stuff, they'll be fine if we just let kids do what they want to do. No, kids want structure, they want rules, they want guidance, they want discipline. When I say discipline, I ain't talking about whooping and beating. I'm talking about, I tell you to be home by 10, guess what? You're home at 9:59. You know, they want that discipline, they need that. And they need it from the parents, they need it from the grandparents. So yes, there has to be that connection, there can be. But both sides have to say that I love you and I want to be there for you. I am your grandparent, I am your grandson or granddaughter, and we're going to make it through this life together. That's what we had coming up. We knew we were going to make it because we knew we had people that were going to help us to make it. Whether they were blood related or in our neighborhood, whatever, we knew that we were going to make it because, hey, Mr. Smith made it. Miss Jones made it, you know. Hopefully, you know, our parents are there and our parents are able to help us, but we had somebody. So yeah, the intergenerational thing has to happen because folks that have been through it, people that have experienced life, they need to tell kids, because I don't care what kids say, because I can remember when I was a kid, by the time I was 13, I thought I knew everything. 13-year-olds don't know nothing. But a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old, a 80-year-old knows a whole lot. They need to share that knowledge with that 13-year-old.
Okay. And the last thing that what can we do? For instance, I just did the 8th grade awards, I guess about 3 weeks ago. Been doing it for 24 years. We honored over 100 8th graders, and over, I'd say 30% had 4.0s. But this is not knowledge that gets out. So, you know, we praise the athletes, If one kid, gets a scholarship for athletics, we praise them. The kids get scholarships for academics, we don't say a word about them. So what can we do to praise our young folks that are doing the right things? Because, I noticed that we'll praise a kid that went to jail, got out, and now he's doing right. But what about the kids that just do right from the beginning? Why can't we praise them? Why can't we get them more media attention and just make it a positive thing, make it positivity instead of negativity?
Yeah, well, you're right in that we definitely have to do that. We've got to make a change, and it's going to take media outlets, whether it is our newspapers, specifically like the Sacramento Observer, whether it is having different events like you were talking about, your 8th grader event, things like that. We have to have, and we have to highlight, like I said, those kids that are being successful. Those kids that, like you said, that have always been successful. I am very proud of a kid who has gotten in trouble, cleaned their act up. But I'm just as proud of a kid who's always been good, who's always worked hard. You probably noticed my elation when you talk about the kids with 4.0. I am so proud to hear about kids getting a 4.0. Because I know, I'm not too old to remember what school was like. 4.0 is hard to get. Trust me, my GPA was nothing like close to 4.0. So they should be given accolades. Because I'll tell you this, and this is one thing I do tell kids in my practice, and I try to tell the parents, because I have kids who are great athletes, it's wonderful. But I have had relatives who have been great athletes, friends who are great athletes, and guess what? They get to college. I've had relatives go to big schools. I've had relatives go to Berkeley. I've had relatives, I had a relative wide receiver at USC. Got hurt. Up the knee. Couldn't continue.
Academics.
That's right. So what got them through academics? Being a great athlete will only last you a while. Even if you make it to the pros, what average NFL lifespan? 2.5 years, something like that?
I think it's about 5.
About 5 years. It's not a lifetime. Academics is a lifetime. So it's great if you are a great running back. You have a great 3-point shot. You throw the ball, pitch 100 miles an hour. That's great, but you're not always going to do that. But if you are intellectually able to work hard and achieve that 4.0, guess what? You will do well in high school. You'll do well in college. You'll do well in whatever career field you choose to go in, and you will be able to do that until you are 100 years old.
I'm glad you hit that because, it's easier to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, mathematician than it is a professional athlete because there are only so many professional athletic jobs. And when you go into the professional fields, it's millions of jobs out there to be a professional. So I'm glad you looked at it that way. Well, it sounds like you have a positive attitude and you're motivating others to have a positive attitude too. So the next time that we talk, I'd like to talk about the development of a solid foundation so these families and young people can have a solid foundation so they can develop a positive mental attitude.
Yeah, and I look forward to that conversation with the Winfield.
All right, been my pleasure, Randall.
Thank you, sir.
All right, God bless.
God bless.